What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Dom and Pop DC Sports Talk Plus podcast. This week, we're going to, of course, recap that Commanders Titans heartbreaker. Tough way to lose that game. We'll talk about, what do we like, what are our biggest concerns, maybe a little bit of how we feel going into Chicago. Of course, we're going to give out our awards, and we're going to check in around the NFL too. What's going on, everybody? Pop, how you doing, man? How you feeling?
Doing a little better now. I had that 45-minute break after the game, waiting on you to get ready, helped me out.
Just remember, wasn't me that threw that pick. Wasn't me.
I'm with you,
Man. Oh, Jesus. I mean, there's just a horrible finish to what was a average game, I'd say. And I think, my biggest takeaway from this is we've been so ash-burned into just horrible performances in the last 3 weeks that what was, if we were a half-decent football team, what would have been a pretty average to mediocre day, looked like we have some hope. So, I mean, we could talk about that. But that was a tough one. That was a tough way to go out, man. Obviously, Carson throws that duck. There's just no reason to throw that football in that spot. He's totally forcing it.
Well, it's it looked like the same forced play, 2 plays in a row as well. Yeah.
It's exactly what, we've said it. And I think thankfully we were a bit more measured about Carson going into the regular season this year, but it's exactly what everybody told us we were going to get. That's what we've got with him. We had some, and we saw that today. We saw some electric throws, some beautiful deep balls, and we saw some pretty questionable decisions. We saw him miss pretty bad on some throws. I mean, that Cam Sims throw, he could have gone for 7 if Carson actually gives him a half decent ball. It's tough. Yeah, it's a tough shake.
Well, I mean, I think it's a disappointing loss. If we weren't 1-4, I think you view this loss with a different set of lenses. I mean, unfortunately, they put themselves in a position where they had to win this game because of the performance up to this point. There are a lot of things that improved. I think again, overall, pretty good defensive performance. They didn't get stops. We talk about complementary football. We take the lead, and then they let the Titans march down the field with some unfortunate penalties, with a big factor in there, combination
the penalties
of offside and roughing the passer. I mean, I know we're going to compliment Sweat, but some of his jumping offside moves were very costly as well. I don't know. I mean, I think they put themselves in a position to win the game. You should be able to execute from the 2-yard line, but you're also in a position where you have to pass the ball. He could have been calmer in that situation. He should have looked for a different option, for sure.
Yeah.
Than McKissick. But I think overall, Carson had a pretty good game.
Yeah, I mean, there were definitely some bright spots. Both of his strikes to De'Ami Brown were beautiful. Hell of a route ran by De'Ami Brown on that first touchdown. That was just gorgeous, the way he came right through the zone. He got to showcase some of that speed, which is why we drafted him. So that was really cool to see him kind of come out of witness protection program and be the dynamic piece and field stretcher that we hoped he'd become. Defense looked really good today as a whole. I mean, we contained Henry. There were some stupid penalties, but I mean, you'd hope after the struggles that we saw the defense have in the first 4 games, really. The performance today feels like, they gave us a shot to win the football game. And ultimately, the offense just continues to come out really slow. They stall. There are these long lulls. There is no commitment to running the football. Yeah, it's really frustrating. I think a core philosophy of mine in football, I hate you play the game for 60 minutes. It doesn't come down to the last 30 seconds. It just doesn't. You had 59 minutes and 30 seconds to put yourself in a position so that that doesn't happen. And some games are going to be tight and you got to win the close ones. You got to make clutch plays, but an overall offensive ineptitude put us in the position where we had to be able to basically take Carson Wentz down the field 90 yards. It's super frustrating to see that they did the hard part and they just couldn't finish. But it was tough. It was tough to watch that offense today. I mean, aside from De'Ami Brown taking the top off a couple of times, looked pretty ineffective. And I mean, in the first half, that De'Ami touchdown was beautiful, but that was pretty much the only play that stood out.
Yeah, I mean it's hard to sit here when probably that not probably the two touchdowns were deep balls, but I think they still forced the ball down the field way too much.
Yeah,
I think I was frustrated by the lack of balance between run and pass, but I'll give we weren't running the ball very effectively.
yeah,
So I'll give the coaches some credit, even though I was frustrated about it at halftime. Maybe they know more about football than I do. Maybe they saw that just the rushing game wasn't there. But then, you saw some of the effectivity of getting the ball on those, short passes to Antonio Gibson. Why everything has to either be a long ball down the field or a short or a run. I don't know why we don't take advantage of some of the short to medium pass game a bit more. Yeah, I did see Carson use the check down more effectively than he
yeah,
has in a while. So that was good. I think one thing I don't quite get is the disrespect of the Titans.
yeah,
They won the AFC last year. They are not Buffalo or Kansas City, but we have a tendency to have this all or nothing attitude. That's a very, very good football team. That's a
that's a
football
decent
team that
football
right
team.
now it's a playoff caliber team, and we're not. So like to battle them down to the last play of the game, I don't think you can look at that game and say it's a total disaster. It's just the circumstance that we're under of being 1-4, makes it a total disaster. And
Yeah,
yeah, I honestly thought we were going to win. I really did. When we had the ball on the 2-yard line, first
yep,
down, you know, could have run 4 plays there, but you can see a bit of we kind of talked in the pregame. Is it Carson? Is it the O line? But you could just see he doesn't trust that line because he had time, but he just
yeah,
doesn't trust that he's going to have time. In a way, you can't blame him. He made some really gutsy plays with his feet, which was good to see. He's still the best quarterback on this roster by far. He just is, and there's a lot of situations with the team. I don't think the coaching is optimal. I club and clock management decisions are just mystifying.
yeah,
Um,
horrible.
a lot of people are going to get on Ron about the challenge flag. I don't know. It's one of those. If he throws it, you're like, why'd you throw it? If he doesn't throw it, you're like, why didn't you throw it? Like I told you, I think it was just one of those calls that wasn't going to get reversed regardless of which way it was called. If they had called it a
Yeah,
catch, they probably wouldn't have reversed it. If they called it a non-catch, they weren't going to reverse it because the ball was moving a bit. But I
and
don't, I don't know. Me personally, I don't think that was like an outrageous thing that we threw the challenge flag there. I mean,
I
it should have
agree.
been a better throw. I mean, the
That's what I
bigger
was just
problem,
about to
bigger
say.
problem with that play was the throw. Like he's wide open, just hit him in the numbers. Like you said, he
That's
might
what
have
I was
scored.
just about to say.
You
Well,
know,
Wentz is so on that play. Wentz is backpedaling because the offensive line can't protect him, and he's throwing off his back foot. He's lobbing one up this big rainbow. He gets so much air under the ball when he throws it. He's lobbing this big rainbow up to Cam Sims, who, I mean, if you even give him a chance to come down with 2 feet, he's going for 7. I mean, he is wide open.
Yeah.
He's wide open on that play. So it's one of those things where
There
it's like,
were a couple throws like that, you know.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's one of those things where like if Wentz can make a better throw, and we saw the underthrow to Jahan Dotson last week in what was a critical situation. If Wentz can make a better throw, and if uh, the offensive line can protect Wentz better, you have a real shot at a game changing play there. But neither could happen, and unfortunately, it becomes a game changing play in the other direction. Ron challenges it. In the moment, I wanted him to challenge it. When you
Yeah.
get to the end of the game, you can say, "Oh, maybe we shouldn't have challenged it," yada yada yada. But at the end of the day, you're looking at that play. The way the game could have swung if we got that challenge, you have to throw that. You have to take a second look. So I'm with Ron on that one. Um, we gave them some flack a couple of weeks ago for not getting the challenge flag out early enough on that Devonta Smith play. So you can't have it both ways. Either you want him to be aggressive with the challenges or you don't. I like that he was today.
I'm not sure,
Um,
I'm not sure that, the clock management either. It's the end of the first half where I just don't understand. You're just between two minds. You're either going to stop the clock or you're not going to stop the clock. Why call that
yeah,
timeout and not call it earlier? And I think, again, they're playing scared. They don't
yep,
trust Carson. They don't trust the offense, whether it's the O line or Carson or whatever it is. But you can't do that. Call the timeouts, especially when they got the ball and it looks like for sure. You're not going to stop Derrick Henry on the 1 or 2 yard line. Call timeouts. Like we had actually that it was a short kick. We got the ball at like the 35. We could have had like a minute left
yeah.
with the ball. We could have got a field goal out of it. Like you just can't coach the game scared. And there are a few moments. There was another moment. I'm not going to remember the exact, but it was like first and 20 from like our 10, and we just gave up. We just kind
Yeah.
of like
Send
totally
us a
gave
punt.
up. In that regard, like throw a screen pass. Try what you do on first and 20 is you try to just get a chunk play underneath to get 8 or 10 yards back to make it 2nd and 10 and manageable. They didn't even attempt that. It was just this total give up of, oh, we're not going to get this first down. We'll just punt it. And
So
it's just they're in this weird position of maybe it's because it's a new quarterback. They've obviously got major problems. I mean, Norwell and Turner, being our replacements at the guards, has just been a total failure. You know,
horrible.
um, Dak Milne or however you say his name, being our kick returner is just an overall nothing. He lets the ball, he lets a punt hit and just dribble inside of our 10-yard line. Why? If you're the fair catch guy, just go up there and at least fair catch it. Give us a better chance. There were just, there's definitely some things from a team construction perspective that were just poor decisions this offseason. But
Yep.
I think sticking to this game, they were right there against a really good team. And there were signs, I think, of encouragement just in terms of how they played. But at this point, you're 1-4. You're in such a hole. And look at the rest of the division. I mean,
Yeah.
Eagles are going to probably go 5-0. Um, you know, they could anyway. The Giants win a big one this morning. They're 4-1. Dallas is right there. So they've just put themselves in an incredible hole, and it's so frustrating to start a season, like this. And,
Yeah.
and, I, and I put it on the coaching more than anything else. Do I think they're going to slowly figure it out? Yeah. They'll probably finish the second half of the season a lot better than what we're seeing now. But it's going to be too little too late. It's going to be another 6-7 game win season and with signs of encouragement. It's like, when are we going to start a year fast? And
And
it's not
that's
just Ron. Like we were doing this in Gibbs 2.0. His 2 playoff years, we had to win like 4 and 5 in a row at the end of the season to get in. This team just
yep.
starts slow for years and years and years and years, even when we have good seasons. So,
And
again,
that's been the problem with this team. And I think ultimately in Rivera's tenure, um, I think it comes down to just complete and utter inability to evaluate talent objectively. Rivera picks his guys before they step on the field, and he just doesn't. I mean, let's look at this, right? Flowers is on a couch right now. He's not playing football. Landon Collins just got picked up by the Giants like
Did
last
he?
week or this week. Yeah, he just
He
got
had a
picked up.
tryout, but I don't know if they picked him up.
I think they did, or maybe he had a try. Either way, he's not playing football. DeAndre Carter went for like one, maybe $2 million to the Chargers. And when you look at some of the holes we have in this team, and you
Yeah,
look at the fact
he
that
did sign to the practice squad. You're right.
you look at the fact that we're $15 million under the cap, and we entered the season with this plan. It's no wonder we start slow. It's
Yeah,
no
but
wonder we start
hanging
behind
your
the
hat on
ball.
two guys that didn't get picked up by any other teams and saying
That's an
that's the
example.
difference.
That's an example. Well,
But
Dad,
that's
I mean, but,
typical
but
ash
Pop,
burning.
how many very returnable kicks did Dax Milne
Oh,
catch,
I
go
agree
left,
with
go
DeAndre
right,
Carter.
and
Of
then
your
get
three
hit?
takes there, the one
See,
I agree with is DeAndre Carter. The other two
see,
guys, if they haven't been picked up
and
by
how
the
many
other 32 teams, there's got to be a reason for that.
how many critical penalties did Andrew Norwell have today? Andrew Norwell was a turnstile today.
He was
That
horrible.
was our replacement for Eric Flowers. So it's just, and what I'm saying is, we made the decision. It's not like these guys got, McKissick got offered to Buffalo. He could have gone to a Super Bowl winning team. Poor guy. He could have gotten out. um, but these guys, we could have had him back. We said we're good with what we have. That's a huge, huge problem, and that's why we start slow. So it all makes sense, and it's all disappointing. And honestly, I don't want to talk about it anymore.
No, I
There's
mean all
there's
we can do,
nothing to.
honestly, all we can do at this point is watch the games, give our takes. It is what it is.
Yeah,
The coaches are who they are. Mid-season, what are you going to do? Are you going to find it's better? I
I
sent you a
mean
text
the
at one point. I think, I said Del Rio greater than Turner, which you never thought I would say.
disturbing.
It's a combination of a lot of things. I think, you know, quarterback play hasn't been great. I thought it was a lot better today, but you also don't, I think, yeah, you could say the defense played well, but the time we really need, every time we take a lead, there are two drives to take the lead back from us. There were costly penalties and there were big plays in those drives. And
Yep.
it was an opportunity for a defense to step up and get a stop when they were, at times of this game, really dominating the line and really doing great things, and they just couldn't do it. And yeah, putting up 17 points is the ultimate failure in the game,
Yeah.
but it's just good enough to lose. It's
What
essentially how
we
they play football. It's just good enough to lose against a good team. This is probably, to be honest, this is probably our best performance of the season. If you think
Yep.
about it, end to end in the game, at least putting some drives together, the defense playing pretty consistent through the course of the game, but it's just good enough to lose,
I had a
at
moment
this point.
actually. It's funny you say that. I'm gonna say this. And I'm gonna give a closing point, and then I say we
Yeah,
move on to our
I
awards.
agree.
Um, so before my closing point, it's funny you say that about how this is our best game, because at the third quarter, I kind of looked up and it was 17-21, and I kind of had a moment of pause and I said, "This is a very normal looking football game. Like this looks like an average game that you flip through channels and comes up. Wow, that's so refreshing." And that is just such a depressing statement. But my closing point I want to make here today, for all the debates that we have in DC over talent versus coaching, talent versus system, et cetera, et cetera. Today, I think this game was essentially a talent versus coaching game. I think we are much more talented than the Tennessee Titans top to bottom. Henry is better than anybody we have on our team. But other than that, if you look across the rosters, we are significantly more talented than the Tennessee Titans. But at the end of the day, Mike Vrabel is one hell of a football coach, and he puts his players consistently in position to maximize their ability, and we do not. And what we saw today, at the end of the day, was Carson Wentz in a position he was not able to be successful in, and that's what the game came down to, and we lost. So I think if anybody wants to debate talent versus coaching, go back and watch that football game again, and you'll see coaching is the problem here. Um, let's move on. We have the whole rest of the season to develop and talk more about that debate. Let's talk about some talent. Um, let's get into our awards. There was a lot of good today amongst the bad. The result sucks, but we did get some good things. So let's highlight the good because there were some great individual performances here today
Should
that
we
were
do our
very
kickouts of
encouraging.
the game first, so then we can get to the good?
Sure, go for it. You throw me the, you like when I stick to the outline, but you throw me a little curveball here. Go for it,
Well, we
Pop.
can end with good. I just like that. It's like when you eat your vegetables first on your dish, and then
Yeah, you got to wolf the
get.
green
So
beans
since
down.
we're on a
Yeah,
roll here, I don't necessarily have one. I don't know if you thought of one.
it's got to be the pick. Like that
Yeah,
last throw by Carson Wentz just has to be the
not being able
pickaxe
to
of the game.
score when you've got the ball on the 2 yard line at the end of the game. I'll go with
At
that.
the end of the day, it
Yeah,
is
you got to execute there.
you've got four plays, and I sent you a screenshot. You had Samuel had some space. Bates was wide open. You had a touchdown there, and you just forced it. And so, you know what? If you don't like your first read, throw it out of the back of the end zone and go for it on fourth. Kickouts. So kickouts directly to Carson Wentz on the execution of that last play, in my opinion. If you want to
Okay.
do an overall kickouts
No, that's
of
fine. That's it.
that
Move
last four
on.
plays, that's fine too.
Yeah,
All right.
I'm 100% there. I mean, I would say for me, it's the overall execution at the end there, but it was pretty much all on Carson. I think just poor choices across the board.
Yeah.
The first down throw, second down throw, and third down throw were all poor. He could have run.
Yeah.
There was one of those that looked like he
Twice.
could have run.
Second down
So,
and third down, it looked like
right.
he had it.
So, yeah, all those are poor decisions. So, easy one there. I would agree. Let's
Yeah.
talk about some good. There was some good. So,
There was some good.
I think the two
And
candidates for the Sauce Award, which is our player of the game, was Diami and Sweat. Who we kind of agreed on one. Why don't you give the people the Sauce Award winner? Who was
yeah,
cooking?
so
Who was cooking today?
we agreed on Montez Sweat. De'Ami
Right.
Brown had some really, really great plays, but overall, Sauce Awards got to go to Montez Sweat. Crucial part of that defensive line. If he can play like that more consistently, now we're looking at Chase Young coming back in the next couple of weeks. Maybe that front four can actually materialize to be what we hope.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a possibility there. I know Tennessee's pretty beat up on the left side, but great overall game for Montez Sweat. So definitely Sauce Award to him. And then for our helmet stickers, first one's already spoiled, but of course De'Ami Brown is getting one. Great to see him come out of what was kind of looking like witness protection program a little bit in the first 2 years, but he took the top off the defense multiple times.
And that second catch was it kind of like a one-handed catch, pretty much? I
Yeah,
don't even know if he put his second hand on the ball. That was a
yeah,
great catch.
it was
I mean,
a it
that's
was
what
a
he's a little bit of a limited right now at this point of his career. Is those deep balls are where he makes things, but that was two real nice throws too. Giving
yeah. Well,
Carson
hey,
some
you know
credit.
what? Props to the kid. It had looked like the team had pretty much cut their losses with him when we go and we draft Jahan Dotson. He's basically a healthy scratch. I was calling for him to be cut in the offseason multiple times. And good for him. He got an opportunity with Dotson going down, getting some snaps, and he made the most of it. I mean, he played great today. So like we said here, a little bit of a theme of our helmet stickers and also our Sauce Awards today is kind of guys having resurging performances or guys that we might have been a little bit down on. So for our next helmet sticker, it's got to be Cole Holcomb. 15 tackles today, led the team in tackles. We've been down on Cole Holcomb for a long time as a fan base, and I think he's really starting to prove himself this season. He did well today. I mean, he's been the linebacker that we've
He's
needed him to be.
consistently leading
So,
the team in
yeah,
tackles just about every game, and I think he's perfectly fine. He's doing a really solid job and
Yeah.
played really well today.
Yeah, quick shout out to Jamin Davis as well, who's been playing better. No award for him today, but we've definitely seen him on some
Yeah.
important get his name called. So that's exciting to see as well. Um, Final helmet sticker we want to give out this week is more of an honorary one, but still fully counts, but just for the incredible story. Brian Robinson, just getting to see him out there on the football field. He had a couple good runs. Overall, we were kind of getting stuffed from the rush, and behind this offensive line, it's going to be tough. But Robinson, just so good to see him back out there. What an incredible story. Literally, the first week he was eligible to be back, he's back. Just
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah, you can clearly see the talent there. It's tough first game back, but I think it's good.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm glad he's played. I saw a little bit of post game show. Santana Moss said, they were a little bit between two minds in the running back position. That they were trying to work Robinson in, but would have they been better off staying a little bit more with AG?
Yeah.
McKissick just, I don't know, it's weird. He just doesn't seem to get in the game much, at all anymore. I don't know why he's not just a third down back and we're not seeing more of him. But I guess it's better to have too many weapons than
Yeah.
not enough.
I agree.
But absolutely glad to see him in there, and I think it was good for them to knock the rust off there. And incredible first game
Yeah.
eligible, and he's back after his story, and hopefully he just builds confidence from there. So well deserving of a helmet sticker.
100%. I think
Tremendous
on the
amount of courage.
I think on the McKissick thing, we've kind of seen Curtis Samuel kind of cannibalize a little bit of that role, just in the short passing and stuff like that. McKissick
True.
was kind of in that situation to be shifty, and I think Samuel's just better. So I'm fine with that. But yeah, just incredible stuff from Brian Robinson. I hope that we can kind of evolve this offense into kind of how Cleveland does their run game. And then you've got Chubb, who's the shorthand downhill runner. That can be Brian Robinson. And then you've got Kareem Hunt, who's kind of a little bit better in the pass game, a little bit more dynamic out on the outside. And that's AG. I mean, we would have to run the football more than 6.5 times to do that. But I think we actually might have the talent in that backfield to do that. So maybe Scott Turner can wake up on that one. But yeah, overall, those are our awards for today. We did our kickouts for the game. Just a tough one, man. It's hard to be too positive after Carson Wentz throws an interception and costs your team the game. It just hurts, man. There's no way around it. I texted my girlfriend. I said, that's a day ruiner. That's a day ruiner.
Yeah,
It
it
just
was definitely
is.
hard. There was definitely
Yeah.
moments right there where I was sort of like, do I really have to go record a podcast now?
Yeah.
And relive
Yeah.
this? But I mean, I think all we can do is see where it goes from here at this point. They're 1-4, and still a lot of games to be played, and they got to get some W's up on the board. Thursday night's another opportunity. I think by no means is any game. I know Chicago's struggling, but that's going to be a battle.
So
I
are
fully
we.
expect that to be a battle, and it's a get right game for them.
Yep.
I think they're. I don't remember. I think they're sitting on 2 wins, right? So
Yeah,
they're
I think
better than we
so.
are at this point. So I mean,
Yeah, the
yeah,
Bears
they're
are
two,
two
two
and
and
three.
three. Yeah, and I mean they played a pretty tough game today after a pretty slow start against the Vikings. So I think, like, just to wrap it up, I mean, it was good to see the performance out of the D line, and it was, we also saw Abada and Casey Toohill had some nice plays, and
Smith
it wasn't just
Williams.
Smith Williams. Good,
Yeah.
yeah, good call. So, like, I think that was supposed to be a team strength, and it's showing up as a team strength. That's good to see. I also figure, we didn't get into it. They benched William Jackson the third. I think you're
Hallelujah.
seeing, I think you're seeing some better performances across the entire defense. I think offensively, you know, I still, like, before the game, I was thinking, well, you heard that Thomas was going to be out, But I just sort of think it's like there's so many weapons to get the ball to that I never really feel that bad, when Dotson and Thomas are out. You're like,
Yeah,
okay, well then McKissick or AG could step up, or
yeah.
there's
Samuel.
so many weapons there, which I appreciate. Like I said, I think that the last series is unfortunate. It's definitely what shows you the difference between Wentz being he's got the talent to be elite, but he's not because of what you saw in that last series.
It's all
But
between the years.
he did play a lot better, and
Yeah,
but you dug yourself a 1-4 hole. It's going to be tough to dig out of that. But just got to get a couple of wins out of their belts, and maybe win. That you get a Chicago win, you get a long week to prepare. You win one that nobody thinks you're going to have a chance to win against Green Bay. Who knows? 3-4 will sound a lot better than 1-4. But yeah, guess we
yeah.
could
I mean,
talk
I
a
think
little fantasy and bada bets at this point, son. I know you may not want to talk about bada bets, but you know we should.
yeah, not a great morning for me on the bottom bets. Let's see here. Yeah, the Packers were not able to secure that game. You got the Giants. I mean, I said it. It came up in our group chat. Somebody said, "Are the Giants legit now?" And I said, "Well, I said that's what happens when you clean house and you get a young head coach from a winning program, and they also went and got a good young GM from a winning program as well." So honestly, I mean, it's tough with the Giants and Eagles. I wish they weren't in the division because it's really cool to watch the way both of those programs have turned it
But
around.
son, we got to recap for the people. They can't get inside your head, so let's explain it. I mean, they should have watched the last pod. So if you didn't, shame on you. But just to clear
You
just to clear it up, let's say so far, we always pick 5 games a week. So if you haven't been checking that out, you should because it's a lot of fun. Dominic's 6-4. I'm 4-6 going into this week. So Dominic's got the edge. Neither one of us really liked the Thursday night game. Colts at Broncos. It's kind of one of those we didn't like either team. So who are you going to
hideous.
pick? We both ended up picking the Broncos. Both lost that game. Um, I picked the Giants. I really thought the Packers would win, but the Giants got 8 points in that game. And I thought, and actually, when I was watching the end of that game, exactly what I wanted to have happen was I wanted the Packers to win, but the Giants to cover so I could win the bottom bets. Dominic picked the Packers plus the 8. I picked the Giants, so I get the win there, regrettably. So far, Dominic's 0-2 in the week. He drops to 6-6. I'm 1-1, so I'm 5-7. So we're rallying, and then the remaining games, you picked the Cowboys over the Rams. I picked the Rams, given 4.5. So that game's still in progress. See what happens there. Got a great Sunday night matchup. Bengals at Ravens. We both picked the Bengals in that one. I think that's right. You picked the Bengals, right?
I think I took Baltimore.
Yeah, I think you picked Baltimore. That's right.
I
You
took
picked Baltimore.
Baltimore. Yeah.
We'll have to go back and rewatch the tape, but I think you're right. And then we
Yeah,
both
no, I took
you picked
Baltimore.
Baltimore, so that's a chance to make up some ground for you. And then we both got the Chiefs given 7 against the Raiders on the Monday night game. So we'll see how that goes. But that's where
So
we are in the
we
bottom. I think pretty respectable, right? 5-7, 6-6 for a couple of amateurs doing this for the
not
first
bad.
time. Not
Not bad.
bad.
I mean, we came into the week. You were 2 games back, and you have a chance to get to 500 here. If things
I just
break
hope the
your
Rams
way.
smash the Cowboys regardless. But
Oh, you actually have a chance to overtake me because I think I picked Dallas, right?
you picked Dallas, right?
Yeah. So you have a chance to overtake me. But we'll see. I got to at least get one of them to stay over 500. I'm actually in quite the fantasy showdown right now. I'm up about 30 points on my opponent, but they have Burrow
Which
and
league?
Justin Tucker in my guys from high school. So that's going to be an interesting one. But family league is looking good. I need San Francisco defense to give me a little bit more, but I'm up pretty big on Jimmy, but he does have Mark Andrews and Juju, so it's going to be tough. I mean, I could be headed for a nuclear week. I also managed to bench Gabe Davis today in my in my other league. So, I should have. I was sitting watching TV with my girlfriend, and she's telling me, "Put your phone down, watch the show." And I'm over here tinkering with my fantasy lineup. And what do? I take Gabe Davis out. So I should have listened to her. Totally screwed that one up. But it still looks like I'm going to win that game. But yeah, I
Yeah,
mean
I'm
that's
looking pretty good too. I've got the lead 92-85, and Lamar Jackson hasn't even played yet.
yeah.
And his quarterback played Josh Allen, who had a monster day. He just didn't get anything else out of the rest of his roster. So leading 92-85 with Lamar Jackson still to go. The only player he's got left to play is Waller for the Raiders. It
Oh,
feels
you're
like
fine.
it's going to be pretty good. I also got Edwards-Helaire from Kansas City still to play. So
You won
I
that.
think I think I've got this one. So
That's a win.
that'll take me to 4-1.
There you go.
So pretty good year so
There you
far.
go. Yeah, I got pretty screwed by
I know
Russ.
you talking smack that your team's better than mine. We're gonna
It
have to
is.
break those two teams down at some point and really
I mean, I
get
put up
into it.
100. I put up
Bring it,
119
son.
point. I put up 119 points today with 3 points from Russ Wilson, and I got this little guy called Brees Hall, and he set a Jets record today with running back yards from scrimmage, and he's a rookie. So I think I'm going to be pretty covered at the running back position, and I already have Jefferson, Diggs, Mike Evans, and Jalen Waddle at wide receiver. So
Dominic, do I
I
have to
I
remind the
think I'm winning
people?
this
Do I have to
league.
remind the people how I spanked you like you stole something in our game earlier this
You
year?
beat me bad. You beat me
Huh?
bad. But you beat me bad. That was a nasty loss that my team took. But you know what? You lit a fire under our asses. I don't think we're gonna come out with this one, but you know what? I got big news. I got big news for the people listening. I am benching Russell Wilson next week. The boys are
Well, he's
moving,
pretty.
and you
He's
know
playing.
what?
I guess the news came out that he's playing hurt, right?
Yeah, he has been. And you know what? Boys are moving forward with Geno Smith. So real poetic
Oof.
situation here. You say Wolf, Geno Smith right now the not QB9 in all of fantasy football. He had 23 points today, 268 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, rushed 3 for 13. So not not the
Another
worst thing in the
shootout for the
world.
Seahawks, right? 39-32. They're just putting up points.
Yeah, it's all offense over there in Seattle. Which I mean, how could you expect it to be anything else with DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, just
But it
two of
just
the
goes to
best
I have
in
both
the
of those
league?
guys on my team, and normally they've either one or both ends up on my bench because my team is just so stacked.
And
And
it's not a
yeah, Lockett
management
had
issue at all.
25 and a half on my bench today. So it's like,
See, that's the problem with guys like Tyler Lockett, Mike Williams, Gabe Davis. They either go for 4 points or they go for 45. And there's no you never feel good about starting them, but whenever you bench them, it seems like they go off. Like there's
well, it
kind
goes
of
to show we
no,
don't really know anything, right? Because the whole
yeah.
thing was like, don't pick Seattle skill players because they don't have a quarterback, right? That
I
was the
was
whole
running away
thing.
from it.
And they're one of the top offenses in the league. At least these last 2 weeks, they've probably put up more points than anybody. So we don't know anything, right?
Yeah.
Going into a season, you just don't know. You would have never expected Geno Smith to be balling like he is. He wasn't even supposed to be the starter in Seattle, right? I
Yeah.
mean, he's pretty entrenched now, so we don't really know. So anyway, thank goodness we have fantasy. Let's hope our boys can turn it around. There was some things to be encouraged by today. I know it's tough to say that. I know I'm trying to be the silver lining guy, but it's a very winnable game, winnable performance. Went down to the wire, and hopefully they can build on it and maybe put a couple of wins back together and start salvaging the season. It is still
Yeah.
early.
Yeah. I mean, next week we can get into nuclear question mark talk because I mean, jeez, the Bears Thursday night. We leave that game 1-5 after getting beat by what a lot of people think is the worst team in football in prime time. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. Could be a win, and we could be talking about going to
Let's
the
hope
Super Bowl. We'll see.
let's hope it doesn't happen.
Hope
And
it doesn't come to
I don't
that
know, at this point,
because,
like
man,
I
it could be
thought about
rough.
that, like the whole code red thing, and does it really matter at this point? I mean, at this point, it's just like we watch every game. You and I were texting this morning. There's always that hope. There's always that anticipation. There's always a bit of that enjoyment in
Any
watching
given
it. They
Sunday,
get
right?
the hope, right? And they gave us hope today. Honestly, through the end of the game, it was a painful loss, but at least it wasn't one of those. It was already a foregone conclusion like the last couple of weeks, and so
I
it's a
mean,
step in the right
maybe
direction. But what what are you going to do? We just got to watch each game. Got to go out and play. They are starting to get some guys back that can help the team. Um, I think we'll talk more Tuesday night about it. I don't want to give away the whole pregame, but
no.
you
We'll get
know,
into it then.
yeah, we'll get into it then. Yeah,
But yeah, I mean, like you said, we're fans first, so it's always good to just watch the team. And I texted you this morning. I said, any given Sunday, clean slate. We're 0-0 every Sunday, and we have an opportunity to win that game.
it'd be nice.
So, well, every Sunday is fresh,
We'll do
blank
like the
slate.
bada bets.
Season is what
Let's
it
just
is.
wipe the season clean and start over. How about that?
Wish we could. Wish we could. I mean, the thing is, you just got to watch the games and make them for what they are. I mean, I was already breaking down Bryce Young versus CJ Stroud tape last night about 2:30 in the morning. Couldn't fall asleep. So we're
The
gonna have plenty of things.
tank is on.
The tank might be on. We'll see. We have plenty of things to talk about. I mean, one of my favorite Commanders memories was the Bill Callahan season when we beat the Miami Dolphins, and me and you were watching, and that turned out to be the game that we could have had Joe Burrow, but me and you were watching that, and we ended up winning. But we were pissed off, and we were screaming at the TV and angry that we won. And our associate producer is like, "What are you guys angry for? They're finally winning!" And it's like, we still suck. So you just kind of got to watch the games, and it's going to be what it's going to be. And we'll break it down for you guys on
Well,
Tuesday. See what
this could be
Chicago's
a
looking like.
quote. This could be a quote that you pull out later and use against me. I still get this inkling that they're going to turn it around. I don't think it's going to be a turnaround that results in anything great. I think it's going to be like 7 wins. But I think they're going to go on this streak. They're going to turn around. They're going to make it interesting. It's going to be a classic Ron Rivera situation where they put a few wins together and we're not mathematically eliminated from the playoffs and we have this glimmer of hope and then we fail at the end. But, I think it's just figuring it out too little too late is where the frustration comes in. But who knows? All we can do is watch. And at the end of the day, you can't take it too seriously. Just a
Yeah, I
game.
mean,
Just a game.
I admire your optimism, Pop. From where I'm sitting, I'm looking at a 1-4 football team with little to
Yeah.
no reason to ever expect a victory from after today. I mean, it was just brutal. So I hope you're right. It would be fun to watch a little run, but it would also maybe be better for my mental health to just be able to hang it up in a couple weeks and just say, you know what, not this year. But
welcome
hey,
to the Buffalo Bills podcast.
Yeah, hey, one way or the other, man, what a football team over there. Oh, God. Hey, one way or the other, we're going to break it all down for you. We're going to be here talking about it because you know what? That's what we do. That's how much we love you guys. So all we ask in return, like, comment, subscribe. We've been posting tons of reels and shorts. Just do us a favor. If you see a short, it makes you laugh, it makes you smile, send it to one of your friends that's a Commanders fan. Share it around. Let them know. Just say, hey, this made me think of you. Send it to your burner account for all we care. Just give us a little help with the algorithm there. But without further ado, let's wrap this thing up. I've been Dom.
This Pop.
Thanks for another great week, guys.